I've saved up some money, right? I saved up 890 quid, right? And I went to get a flat the other day, right? And I told them I worked because they like the people that work. And the bloke walked back from around the back of it, and he recognised. He says, "All right, Daniel." I says, "How you doing?" He says, "Oh, how do you know each other?" He says, "Oh, he sells the big issue on Northumberland Street." He says, "Oh, you cannot have the flat then."
There are 6,840,507,003 people living in our world today. 62,218,076 of them live in Britain alone. By the time I finish this sentence, that figure will have changed. Unfortunately, there are tens of thousands of people in Britain that are homeless, half of which live on the streets or in doorways, and the other half live in temporary shelter or squats. My name's Dan Charles, and this is Second Class Citizen. When I was walking home the other week, a man shouted me and asked if I could spare him 20p. But we actually ended up having a chat for about an hour, and I found out quite a bit about him. I found out that this man who is now living on the streets, he actually fought for our country in the RAF for 10 years. He was married, he also had his own home, but he fell into a deep depression after losing his wife suddenly in a car accident, which resulted in him losing everything, including his house. Now, I just think that is absolutely crazy how a man like that can just slip through the net. Before this though, I didn't know much about the homelessness. I was quite ignorant to it actually. This is exactly why I'm making this film, to educate myself a little better. And I thought the best way to do that is to contact my local counsellor and pick her brains about the issues these people face every day. And that's exactly what I've done, and I'm about to meet her now. What are the statistics of the homeless area in Newcastle?
The statistics vary because it depends who's counting, really.
Okay.
The council will have its own stats, and then there's a whole range of organisations that deal with people who are homeless. I think the national figure, the last time I checked, was a report produced in February 2011, which showed in the region of 1,800 people homeless in the UK. But that category is specifically homeless people that sleep on the streets. Okay. So that is as homeless as you can get.
What would you do if you were in that position of being homeless yourself?
I used to be in that position. It's just it's hard. It's hard.
I would rather commit suicide. I could never be in that situation.
There's plenty of government schemes around now, and there's plenty of help for them to just pop in, but I think some of them just see it easier to live on the street than it is to ask for help.
So if this was David Cameron sitting on the other side of the table, what would you say to him to kind of change or to do something better with this problem? What would you say?
I would probably say, I mean, if the government is producing reports saying 1,700 people, 1,700 people are homeless, then that's not a massive figure, and those people are obviously spread within the UK. I would ask the question, what are you doing to house those 1,700 people? Because when you walk around the city, you see empty houses, and it makes you think, well, why is there such a demand for housing when there's so many empty houses? So I would ask and urge that is one of the priorities, and the organisations that need to work with those people do actually work and produce the results. Those results are monitored and published so people know what's happening.
There'll be over 1,600 people sleeping rough on our streets tonight. And I'm one of them.
As well as him, and so many more people in the UK, including Paul, which I'm just about to meet now. So what would you describe your life as now? How different is it?
An existence. It's not a life, it's an existence. I exist to survive on a day-to-day basis. Everything else stays the same. I'll be here again tomorrow morning after I've been to the Housing Advice Centre and I've once again been told there's nothing available. And again the next day, and again the next day. Soup kitchen 6:30 at night, going down underneath the library to sleep at 10 o'clock. Everything, is the same, and it's rubbish, absolutely rubbish. I'm not a priority as far as the council's concerned, because I'm not addicted to drugs, I'm not addicted to alcohol, I've got no mental health issues, I'm not under the age of 21 and I'm not a pregnant female.
I've decided to put myself in that homeless state, to see if I can do something, if I can get off the streets and stay somewhere safe, even if it's just for one night. Because I just can't believe it's that hard to do. So this has been my first port of call, obviously the job centre where they've given me this pamphlet or homelessness in Newcastle. And they've given me a bit of advice, and the second place I'm going to go to, which they've advised me on, is the Housing Advice Centre, which is just around the corner, and I'm going to go there now.
So I went to the Housing Advice Centre, told them my situation, they'd done an assessment, and they asked me lots of questions, such as, you know, have you got a benefit claim? I said, well, no, because I've just finished working. And so obviously with me not having a benefit claim, it was really hard to get housing. But then when I went to make a benefit claim, they says, well, if you haven't got an address, we can't make you a claim, so you can't get any money.
So I've just been to the Housing Advice Centre yet again. I've got more leaflets and pamphlets, one of which, homeless in Newcastle, looking for housing in Newcastle. Okay, well this is all well and good, but if I had nowhere to sleep tonight, and I went in there, I would have to have a meeting, an interview, and they will analyse me and tell me what's best for me. But potentially, I could still be on the streets tonight, which I find utterly ridiculous.
Every time I go down there, it's sort of, it's the same thing. You don't only feel socially excluded here in this environment with the way people treat you and look at you, but when you go to work with the professionals, you sort of, you know, and you go and see the professionals, you feel excluded from them, because the attitude that I feel as though I'm getting is, well, I'm okay, you know, my situation's fine, I'm not too bothered that you're going to be spending the next few weeks in a doorway. You know, come back tomorrow and I'll do my best, and you know that tomorrow's going to be the same answer.
So I've been to the places that I thought might help, it seems that they weren't that big of a help. So who's better to help somebody in need than the actual charity itself? So I'm here at the door asking for help, so I'm going to do that now. So I spoke to a very nice lady from shelter that's given me some more pamphlets and told me to go to the Housing Advice Centre, which I've already been to, and I've come to the conclusion that they weren't very helpful. So now I'm here at Connections to see what they can help me with.
I feel powerless to do anything, you know, to change my own situation, because I fought for weeks and weeks to try and, you know, secure accommodation and get people to listen to me, but nobody wanted to know, and they still don't. So it just feels like I'm on a roundabout that I can't get off.
So I've just been inside Connections and they were absolutely brilliant. They will get me off the streets if I was 13 to 19. I'm 22, which means they don't have the authority to help me, which means I still have to find somewhere to go on my own, which means I'm probably gonna be on the streets tonight. So it's about halfway through the day. It's fair to say I'm massively frustrated. It's just so hard to find somewhere that will give you some valid, helpful advice. I feel like I'm just going round in circles. So I'm going to go to Citizens Advice, last chance, to see if they can help me. Hello, yes, I'm homeless. I'm looking for a bit of advice on what to do.
We actually are closed. We close at 1 o'clock. We open again tomorrow between 10 and 1.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. There is something very wrong with the system, not just here in Newcastle, but all over the UK, and it needs to change.